Hello, students, and welcome back to the lecture series of School of Finance and Commerce, Galgotias University. Today, we are going to start Unit 3, and its title is Motivation. So, we will be discussing the concept of motivation and its theories. Let's get started. The objectives of today's lectures are: first, to understand the meaning and need of motivation. Second, to develop a basic understanding of role of motivation in improving the overall efficiency of an organization. Third, to identify different factors which motivate people in order to achieve the objectives of organization. And I hope by the end of this lecture we will be able to cover all these objectives. Now we will discuss the concept of motivation. What is motivation and from where does it come from? Motivation is the word which is derived from another word, motive. Motive means needs, desires, or derives within the individual. Motivation is the process of stimulating people to actions to accomplish the goals. In work goal context, the psychological factors stimulating the people behavior can be success, recognition, job satisfaction, teamwork, etc. So all these factors will stimulate the people's behavior so that they can achieve the goals of organization. One of the most important function of management is to create willingness among all the employees to perform the best of their abilities. Therefore, the role of a leader is to arouse interest in performance of employees in their jobs. So here I would like to say that motivation is very important for management. The process of motivation consists of three stages. Number one, a felt need or drive, that is the very first step. Second, a stimulus in which needs have to be aroused. Third, when needs are satisfied, then the satisfaction or accomplishment of goals starts. Therefore, we can say that motivation is a psychological phenomena which means needs and wants of the individuals have to be tackled by framing an incentive plan. In the words of Dalton E. McFarland, motivation refers to the way in which urge, drives, desires, aspirations, strivings or needs direct, control or explain the behavior of human beings. So here we can say that motivation has close relationship with the behavior of human beings. It explains how and why the human behavior is caused. McFarland considers the terms used in his definition in a general sense as forms of tension occurring within the individuals with resulting behaviors aimed at reducing, eliminating or diverting the tension. Understanding the needs and drives and their resulting tensions helps to explain and predict the human behavior, ultimately providing a sound basis for managerial decision and action. Thus, motivation is a term which applies to the entire class of urge, drive, desires, needs, and similar forces. I hope the concept of motivation is clear to all of you. Let's discuss the importance of motivation. Rensis Likert has called the motivation as the core of management. Motivation is an important function which every manager performs for actuating the people to work for the accomplishment of objectives of the organization. So, here is the importance of motivation. Number one, It puts human resource into action. Second, it improves level of efficiency of employees. Third, it leads to achievement of goals of organization. Third, it builds friendly relationships, and it leads to stability of workforce. Now, we will discuss the specific importance of motivation to an individual as well as to a business. Now, motivation is important to an individual because it will help him achieve his personal goals. And if an individual is motivated, he will have job satisfaction. Third, motivation will also help in self-development of individual, and an individual would always gain by working with a dynamic team. So this is the significance of motivation to an individual. Now we will discuss the importance of motivation to a business. First, the more motivated the employees are, the more empowered the team is. Second, the more is the teamwork and individual employee contribution, more profitable and successful is the business. During period of amendments, there will be more adaptability and creativity. Next, motivation will lead to an optimistic and challenging attitude at workplace. So, this is the importance of motivation for an individual as well as business. Now, we will be discussing the process of motivation. A figure is given on the slide. I will be explaining this figure to make you understand the process of motivation. The very first step which is involved in the process of motivation is needs or the motives. So, the unsatisfied needs are the starting point in the process of motivation. The unsatisfied needs results in tension within the individual. This tension motivates him to search for the ways in which he or she can relieve this tension. The person develops certain goals for himself. If he is successful in achieving his goals, certain other needs will emerge which will lead to setting a new goal. But if the goal is not achieved, the individual will engage himself in either constructive or destructive behavior. This process never stops, it keeps on working within an individual. So this is the process of motivation. It's a cycle. It's keep on going. So actually the process of motivation can be categorized into 5 main steps. Number 1, identifying the unsatisfied needs and motives. Number 2, these unsatisfied needs will create tension in the individual, and this tension can be physical, psychological and sociological. Third, action to satisfy these needs and motives, that is the performance. So such tension creates a strong stimulus that calls for action. The individual engages himself in activities to satisfy the needs and the motives for tension reduction. So here the individual is searching for the various alternatives and choices are made. Now, fourth step is goal accomplishment. Action to satisfy needs and motives accomplishes the goals. It can be achieved through reward and punishment. When actions are carried out as per the tensions, then people are rewarded, others are punished. Ultimately, the goals are achieved. Last step is feedback. Feedback provides information for revision or improvement or modification of needs as needed. So depending upon how well the goal is accomplished and needs and motives are modified. So this was the process of motivation. I hope it's clear to all of you. Let's move ahead. Now we will be discussing different theories of motivation. As we know that management can do its job effectively only through motivating people for the goal accomplishment. It is quite difficult to understand motivation without considering the facts that people do have expectations from their job. So we need to understand what people want and expect from their job. Here we have the model of need hierarchy. This model is given by Abraham Maslow, and Abraham Maslow has developed this conceptual framework for understanding the human motivation. This model has been widely accepted. Abraham Maslow proposed the human needs can be arranged in a particular order from the lower level to the higher level. The need hierarchy is shown on this slide. First, physiological need. Second, security need. Third, social need. Fourth, esteem need. Fifth, self-actualization need. Physiological needs are the basic needs that are taken from the starting point for motivation, and that's why they are called physiological needs. These needs relate to the survival and maintenance of human life. They includes things such as food, clothing, shelter, air, water, and other necessities of life. Second level of needs is security needs, or we can say safety and security needs. After satisfying the physiological needs, people want to satisfy their next level of need, that is the safety and maintenance. They want job security, personal bodily security, security of source of income, provision for old age, insurance against risk, etc. So this was the second level of security needs. Next level is social needs. Man is social being and interested in conversation, sociability, exchange of feelings and grievances, companionship, recognition and belongingness. All these needs are covered here in the third level. Fourth level is esteem needs. Esteem and status needs. These needs embrace such things as self-confidence, independence, achievement, competence, knowledge, and success. They are also known as egoistic needs. They are concerned with prestige and status of the individual. The last level is self-actualization needs. The final step under the need priority model is the need for self-fulfillment, or the need to fulfill what a person considers to be his mission in the life. It involves realizing one's own potential, or we can say the self-development, or for being creative in the broadest sense of the word. After his other needs are fulfilled, a man has the desire for personal achievement. He wants to do something which he is challenging for him, and since this challenge gives him enough dash and initiative to work, it is beneficial to him in particular and to society in general. The sense of achievement gives him psychological satisfaction. And that's why after fulfilling all the lower level needs, a person wants to fulfill this last level. That was the model of need hierarchy, which is given by Abraham Maslow. Now we will discuss second theory of motivation, which is given by Frederick Herzberg. This theory is also known as two-factor theory of motivation and motivation hygiene model. In 1959, Frederick Herzberg, a scientist, proposed a two-factor theory, or the motivator hygiene theory. According to Herzberg, there are some job factors that result in satisfaction, while there are other job factors that prevent dissatisfaction. According to Herzberg, the opposite of satisfaction is no satisfaction, and the opposite of dissatisfaction is no dissatisfaction. Herzberg classified these job factors into two categories. First one, hygiene factors. Those factors which are essential for existence of motivation at workplace are known as hygiene factors. They do not lead to positive satisfaction for long term, but if these factors are absent, then they will lead to dissatisfaction. In other words, hygiene factors are those factors which, when adequate or reasonable in a job, pacify the employees, and do not make them dissatisfied. These factors are always extrinsic to work. Hygiene factors are called as dissatisfiers or maintenance factors, as they are required to avoid dissatisfaction. These factors describe the job environment, and all the hygiene factors symbolize the physiological needs which the individuals wanted and expected to be fulfilled. These factors include pay, company policies and administrative policies, fringe benefits, physical working conditions, status, interpersonal relations, job security. Now we have second set of factors which is known as motivational factors. According to Herzberg, the hygiene factors cannot be regarded as motivators. The motivational factors yield positive satisfaction. These factors are inherent to work, or we can say intrinsic to work. These factors motivate the employees for a superior performance, and these factors are involved in performing the job. Employees find these factors intrinsically rewarding. The motivators symbolize the psychological needs that were perceived as an additional benefit. It includes recognition, sense of achievement, growth and promotion opportunities, responsibility, meaningfulness of the work. Now, we have certain limitations of this theory. Number one, the two-factor theory overlooks the situational variables. It assumed a correlation between satisfaction and productivity, but the research conducted by Herzberg stressed upon satisfaction and ignored the productivity. Their theory's reliability is uncertain. Analysis has to be made by the raters. The raters may spoil the findings by analyzing the same response in different manner. No comprehensive measure of satisfaction was used. An employee may find his job acceptable despite the fact that he may hate or object the part of his job. This theory totally ignores blue-collar workers. Despite these limitations, Herzberg's two-factor theory is accepted broadly. Now we will discuss the implications of two-factor theory. The two-factor theory implies that the managers must stress upon guaranteeing the adequacy of the hygiene factors to avoid employee dissatisfaction. Also, the managers must make sure that the work is stimulating and rewarding so that the employees are motivated to work and perform harder and better. This theory emphasizes upon job enrichment so as to motivate the employees. The job must utilize the employees' skills and competencies to the maximum extent. Focusing on the motivational factors can improve work quality. So this was the concept behind two-factor theory. I hope all of you are able to understand this concept. Now, I would like to conclude today's lecture by comparing both these models, that is Maslow's model and Herzberg's model. Actually, there appears to be a great similarity between Herzberg and Maslow's model. A close examination of Herzberg model indicate that what he actually says is that some employees may have achieved a level of social and economic progress in the society, and for them higher level needs of Maslow, that is esteem and self-actualization needs, are the primary motivators. However, they still must satisfy the lower level needs for the maintenance of their current state. Thus, we can say that money might still not be a motivator for operative employees and for managerial employees. Herzberg model adds to the Maslow need hierarchy model because it draws a distinction between the two groups of factors, namely motivational and maintenance, and points out that the motivational factors are often derived from the job itself. Most of the maintenance factors come under comparatively lower level needs. In economically advanced countries, such needs of the employees are fulfilled and hence sees to be motivators. In the figure which is shown on the slide, we will see that Maslow's physiological, security and social needs come under Herzberg's maintenance factors, whereas self-fulfillment come under motivating factors. It may further be noted that a part of esteem needs comes under maintenance factors and another under the motivational factors. The esteem needs are divided because there are some distinct differences between status and recognitions. Status stands to be a function of the position one occupies, and this position may be gained through family ties or social pressures, and so this may not be a reflection of personal achievement or earned recognition. Recognition is gained through competence, achievement. It is earned and granted by others. That is why status is classified with physiological, safety and social needs as a hygiene factor, while recognition is classified with esteem as a motivator. So these were the differences between Herzberg and Maslow's model. Here is the list of sources which I have used in preparing the slide. Thank you all of you and have a nice day.